I'd like for you to throw more light on this year's theme of Customer Service Week.
Thank you very much indeed, Vivian. For the past 30 years, every October, a week is set aside to celebrate customer service. And this year's theme is team service. And as the name suggests, you require a team to be able to satisfy the customer optimally. So beyond the external customer, you equally need to celebrate the internal customer that puts a package together to be able to service those who are in the front line in servicing the customer. So this year, team service is unique and again is trying to underscore the importance of customer service. And customer service indeed is the bedrock of every business or organization. So once you're not able to satisfy the customer, then you have a major challenge. And in line with that, the father of modern management, Peter Drucker, underscored the importance of customer service when he said, for every business to exist, you need to create and sustain customers. So it's service that can enable you to create and sustain customers.
You know, while you were talking, you said there are internal as well as external customers. Yes. So let me pick your brains a little bit. Who is a customer? The
customer is every person that a service provider try to provide a service to, put simply. So everybody that consumes service or products of organizations, they are the ones who the people serve from organizations so that they get meet the expectations of the customers.
Fantastic. So what are the objectives of Customer Service Week?
The objective is to underscore the importance of customer service, to celebrate employees who are in the front line serving the customer, and find a way to move beyond just customer service to customer experience, meet the customer expectation. And there's this cliche in customer service, on the promise to over-deliver. What that means is that constantly you need to provide service and you meet and exceed the customer expectation. Then you can get what you call repeat business. And you can take the customer in what they call the customer service journey from just being a customer and becomes a strategic partner for the business.
Fantastic. So I have a very, very big question I'll ask you, but this is a lead up to that question. Without excellent employees, no customer satisfaction. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, first and foremost, the employees who are in the front line, particularly those ones who are serving customer, once the morale and the employees are properly trained in what we call the customer service framework, then they're able to provide optimal service to the customer. And like mentioned earlier, the business in itself or the organization is there to create and serve customer first and foremost. Before you talk about profit.
Fantastic. So then, my question, what customer satisfaction goal will you aim for?
No, essentially, as a service provider, the ultimate is to be able to provide adequate satisfaction for the customer. And sometimes you will need to go beyond or take the extra mile in a way to go above what the customer expects. And we have even moved away essentially from what you call customer service to customer experience.
So let's make it personal. This is what I want to know. If, for example, you are putting on the shoes of a customer, what will satisfy you?
Once the service provider is able to meet my expectation based on the service delivery that he had promised me, then I'm happy as a customer.
Fantastic. And then you say we don't just stop at satisfaction, we move on to experience. So what then is customer experience?
The experience is a kind of, once you have an interface between what you promise and what you're able to deliver, then the customer is essentially happy. So he has that kind of experience. So that's what you call the moment of truth. when the customer interacts with your value proposition and what the customer essentially gets when he has a direct interaction with your service. So once you're able to do that, then the customer is happy.
Moment of truth sounds really, really, really good. Well, let's talk about the 4 key principles of customer service. Personalized, competent, convenient, and proactive. This is your forte. So please, could you expand these things for us?
No, essentially, that's what you call the customer service journey. Once the value proposition that you put in the marketplace, once you're able to satisfy the customer based on those frames that you just mentioned a while ago, then the customer is happy, then you are in business. So constantly, you must be customer-centric, thinking in the line of the customer as you provide service. Make sure once there are issues with your service, you take feedback mechanism very seriously. If there are service failure, to what extent are you able to correct those failures in a proactive manner and not being reactive to the customer? I think those are the kind of ecosystem that will be able to sustain that relationship to greater heights.
It seems like psychology comes into play here. I mean, because people have different temperaments, right? So if you're able to read the temperament of a particular customer, you're able to tailor their needs, you know, effectively. Am I right?
Yes. So I think you need some high level of what you call emotional intelligence to be able to satisfy the customer adequately. So you have all kinds of customer. You have a difficult customer. But what is key is to understanding the customer. And there's another frame that is very important. You must have concern for the business and you have a concern for the customer. When you're able to balance those 2 entities, then everybody is happy in the value chain.
You know, I try to run away from it, but since you brought it up, what do you mean when you call someone a difficult customer? Is it someone hard to please?
To some extent, yes. There are people, well, you mentioned psychology earlier, so there's what you call customer behavior, which is essentially driven by individual psychology on the way they respond to issues. So your ability to be able to emotionally respond to customer that might play difficult sometimes, then you're able to provide service in a way that meets their requirement. And when there are issues in terms of, sometimes there's a service breakdown. So what is important, to what extent can you recover that service and be able to identify some customers in a way that you're able to resolve their issues. When you're not able to do that, you refer them to your superior who are able to interface more meaningfully. But the idea is that those who are in the front line must be trained in a way that they understand customer motivations, that they are people that are difficult sometimes when you deal with them. So you balance those situations with the reaction. So what we say in customer service, they must be personable in a way that they're able to respond to issues more appropriately. One of the one that they call a gift is that the customer that complains is a customer that is really indeed your customer. The silent customer is the most dangerous customer. So once customers complain, are you able to resolve those complaint issues, and they become your partner. Then indeed, what is essential, or what is just talked about, your ability to be able to respond to the various pain points of your customer through the various touch points. To what extent are you able to understand the deep insights of the inner voice of the customer? Once you're able to understand the inner voice of the customer, you're able to anticipate the challenge, and you're able to provide service that optimally meet the requirement of the customer. Then you have the customer as your strategic partner. I think she's in sync with the entire process of what you call the customer experience.
Okay, it seems like Sam and Diwan are on the same wavelength. Diwan, when you come back, I'll be asking you this next question. What do you find interesting about the customer care sector? That's the next question I've got for you. But first, Sam also talked about difficult customers. But then, what you just said seems like a contrast, would I say that is now? Because you said a silent customer is a dangerous customer, but the customer that complains is a gift. So the customer that complains is not synonymous to a difficult customer, right?
Not at all.
Uh-huh.
That is a customer that wants you to improve on your service delivery. The silent customer is the one who walks away and tells people not to do business with you.
Ah.
But the one who comes back to complain is indeed your partner.
Yeah, but in a case where a silent customer had complained over and over and over and it didn't work, and the customer decides to be silent and tell other people that, hey, don't go there, would you blame that person?
No, from literature, the ones that are really silent based on the surveys and research are the ones that they don't even talk to you at all.
Okay.
But those who make complaints are the ones that want you to improve on your service delivery.
So one of the questions I was going to put to Dewan was that what does she find interesting about, the customer care sector? So I'll put that question to you too. What do you find interesting?
I think in terms of customer care, there's a challenge, particularly in our client where people don't take customer service serious. So those who are at the care point in terms of technical provision of the service, sometimes, particularly when you have interaction via telephone, in terms of the response mechanism from those part of the ecosystem, there's a problem. Nevertheless, there are some companies that are champion in terms of the kind of care they give to their customers. So that care is very critical, and that's why I talked about the role of internal customer service, those who provide support for the front line, who has a direct interface with the customer. It's critical. So if you have an internal customer regime that is not supportive, it's likely to impact negatively on the business, particularly those who are on the front. So the internal customer service must be upbeat so that we're able to address the core customer issues and you meet with the requirements of the customer as it were.
Some people want to see stuff on paper to say, oh, they can do this. Is there a danger somewhere if you underpromise, even though you intend to over-deliver?
No, I don't think there's any danger when you underpromise.
Okay.
Where the danger is when you overpromise.
Ah, really?
You underpromise to overdeliver. So I don't think there's a danger when you underpromise. So that even gives you a leverage on how you can put your service delivery optimally and you're able to satisfy the customer. I think the key conversation here is service excellence. Service excellence. You need to just deliver value based on your value proposition to the customer. And once service, then the customer become loyal to you and you drive them in the customer journey to what you call strategic partners. You talked about it, and she talked about it earlier on, psychology, when it comes to, good customer care experience. You said service is key. How about people who are big on emotions? She talked about empathy, right? So what are other ways you can explore to keep your customers, to keep them happy? She spoke to a lot of them. Service delivery, which is very critical. Once you make a promise, you must deliver on those promises. You must reward your customer. Then finally, that's what you call the customer voice. You need to understand the customer voice. And every purchase or every buying behavior is essentially driven by emotions. People buy based on emotions. So you need to understand the concept of emotional intelligence. And one of the pillars of emotional intelligence is empathy, which she spoke to earlier. Then you need to understand you must have some social skills, interpersonal skills that help you to drive the process. Then if there are issues, you have the capacity to self-regulate yourself in line with some of the negative impulses that the customer sometimes, or even the service provider, puts up with the customer. So once you're able to synchronize these various elements, then you are able to serve the customer. So you must wear the cap of what you call service leadership, which is the driver of customer experience.